Chief Alexander. Mary, would you like to say a few words?
I'm tempted to say what he said. Yeah. I'm just a lawyer, and it's interesting because and I was a juvenile public defender for a short time, which I just loved. But the last thing these kids need is a lawyer. I mean, the very last thing. Our system, these kids don't have a legal problem. What we have is a philosophical problem. You know, Florida's Constitution states that the purpose of incarceration is punishment. Really? Despite the fact that everything that we know about human behavior, reward, acting out, you don't change bad behavior by punishing it. These are kids who have esteem issues and other types of issues, as politically incorrect as that sounds, because everybody hates that word esteem. But these are kids that are acting out. They're angry, they're pissed off, they're whatever, So you meet that need. You don't beat them up because they're angry. We just have a really poor process in place for dealing with the kind of issues that kids are struggling with today. And I wouldn't want to be a kid growing up in this society today. I mean, it's really, really tough. All the additional things that they are burdened with that we were not burdened with 40 years ago. You know, the purpose, according to the Florida Constitution, of juvenile incarceration is rehabilitation. But anybody sitting in this room knows what the recent history of all the privatization of juvenile correctional facilities is, and it is grim. I personally have represented clients who have picked up more charges in correctional facilities because of behaviors by the officers there, who are poorly trained, poorly paid, really not suited for dealing with children that have a lot of issues. I think the other thing that happens, you know, at least on a misdemeanor level, is when a kid does end up picking up a charge, it's a misdemeanor perhaps. Let's not deal with the more serious charges because that's a whole nother ball of wax. But when a kid picks up a misdemeanor charge, typically very few, and Judge Nickinson can correct me, but very few of those charges go to trial. I'm trying to run away from that.
Why don't you, actually, you should be closer to the microphone.
That's the one that you can already.
Very few of those charges actually go to trial. You know, the kids our system is set up so the kids are really encouraged to accept what is essentially a plea bargain, but what it is, it's 2 pages of conditions that they have to do, and many of these kids are poor, and the cost associated with these plea bargains is extraordinary. You have court cost of $200 or $300. You might have community service hours of 50 hours. You have to get to the community service place. First of all, transportation is a problem. You have to sign up for community. You have to pay to do community service. These are kids who aren't even old enough to work, for crying out loud, and many of their families can't afford it. It's set up to fail. It's systemic, and I frankly find it personally very, very overwhelming. I'm no longer a juvenile public defender. I love that job. I'm in private practice now. But it really is so incredibly overwhelming that I guess my philosophy as an attorney, as a former PD for kids, was I didn't care if they had done something bad or wrong. All I wanted to do is be that person that could sit there and listen to a kid tell his story, and I would pay complete attention and rapture like there was nothing ever more important that came out of that child's mouth. And you just sit there and you listen to this kid tell his story and you try to make a connection. And sometimes you never know, that can be enough. But I have a very different perspective. I mean, these are spiritual, philosophical problems. These are not legal problems. And we really need to get that right. You know, and I don't know how you empirically quantify that. I got no idea. But these are issues of the heart. They really, to me, they are. So, thank you.